subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay, so here recently I went to Castle Rock Road, and after I uploaded the video to YouTube, there was a gentleman that actually left me a comment, which is really awesome because this is exactly what I was wanting. I was wanting someone to give me tips on places to go and check out. So this is going to be a shout out to this fellow YouTuber that's also here in Idaho. He's Buffalo Chris Prospecting, and this is what he said. He said that the Dixie Cutoff Road goes from the Fall Creek turnoff over to the Cow Creek area. There's a lot of history through there, especially if you bust a ride at the canal and follow it. The Chinese hand-dug a tunnel through the mountain to get the water through. There is an old homestead and a lot more to explore. Check it out. I think you would enjoy it. So that's where we're headed today. We are driving down Highway 20 towards Mountain Home, and we are going to go check that out because it definitely sounds like something I would definitely be interested in. So stay tuned and follow us along. Hey guys, so I'm sitting here actually working through the video and putting everything together and editing, and I was so excited yesterday on this little adventure that I didn't really bother explaining very well what we were doing or where we were going. So the area that you're about to see in this video is actually called the Little Camas Reservoir, which is northeast of Mountain Home, Idaho. And anyway, so the gentleman that actually recommended that I go check this place out, which I'm going to give him another shout out. Again, his name is Buffalo Chris Prospecting. And if you're into gold mining or anything of that sort, definitely check his channel out. He's in Idaho, and most of his videos are all just gold panning. So anyway, this is the area that we went to. We went to the Little Camas Reservoir. And it was actually a really cool bit of information. So I've gone ahead and looked up some history on this. And if you would like to look into it further yourself, you can. I will be reading from the Mountain Home News. So this is an article that came out in 2016, and it's called Looking Back into History. It's by Tim Bondi. And again, it's out of Mountain Home News. You can Google that and read the entire article for yourself. I'm just going to be taking out bits and pieces that have to do with what we were doing. So it says here that according to longtime resident Calvin Ireland, all of the canal work was completed by hand and by using workhorses, probably around the early 1890s. While the canal suffered some blowouts and major leaks over time, the basic path of the current canal remains true to its historic path. So both the Little Camas and Long Tom reservoirs, as well as the canal that connects the two bodies of water together, were constructed in the late 1800s as part of an original plan to irrigate up to 45,000 of agricultural land from the Boise Valley and eastward towards Gooding. Currently today, the water in the reservoirs and canal system irrigate about 4,300 acres and 142 users. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. The canal, over most of its history, has been maintained by a local irrigation district based out of the Mountain Home area. While Ireland wasn't completely sure about his facts, he thought there was only 5 or 6 different water masters managing the water, the canals, and the district itself since the early 1900s. And last but not least, here's a little bit more information. It says here that the few spots where the 2-track road doesn't follow the canal is where the aqueduct flows into one of the 4 or 5 tunnels along its path. The shortest tunnel is about 50 feet and the longest stretch is more than 1,700 feet in length. Some of these tunnels were cut into the mountain by miners who traveled south from the northern Idaho gold mines when those miners went on strike in the late 1800s. Okay, so like I said, if you guys want any more information on this, just get onto Google, type in mountainhomenews.com, and maybe with a backslash put in "looking back into history" by Tim Bondi, and you will find the entire article that you can read and look into for yourself. One of the things, though, that I was particularly curious about is the gentleman that recommended that I go see this. He had said that the tunnels were dug by the Chinese. Now, I would not have known this. I'm also a freelance writer, and I actually just had an article come out in the last 8 or 9 months that had to do with the Chinese miners here in Idaho. It was basically the history of mining in Idaho, but it covered the history of the Chinese and their part. So while I couldn't find actually any information specifically stating that the Chinese dug these tunnels, I would say, based off the information that I did read, that the miners showed up after the strikes in northern Idaho. That definitely sounds like the Chinese to me, because when I was doing my research, a lot of the Caucasian miners left. When the strikes happened, a lot of them just left, and then the Chinese came in and they became the now I'm going to pronounce this wrong, I'm sure, but I want to say placer miners, like placer mining. I don't know if it's placer or placer, but it's one of the two, potato, whichever you prefer. So I do believe it was the Chinese, just based off the fact that they did show up after a lot of these mining strikes, and they were willing to go through all of the old piles, the dredge piles, and mine through there. They were very hard workers. They built a lot of the infrastructure around here in Idaho during that time. So anyway, that is what you'll be seeing on this video.